Hello, everybody. It's Max with Crypto Talk now. With Quant, it's basically just like this, all about quality over quantity. I'm sure you heard that expression many times before. So, with that said, let's get into today's Quant coverage. And as you can see right here, there's this particular clip. Of course, shout out to Quant Papa who provided this. And like it says, best of the best. And what I love seeing right here is just that. I love hearing, for instance, Gilbert Verdian basically outlining in this quick snippet, how Quant basically helps organizations safely and seamlessly take full advantage of blockchain technology. If anything, they don't just allow just any developer to come on board and so on, right? They basically handpick the best of the best, quality over quantity. We're going to take a moment just to listen to this, and then we'll be right back.
By having the right experienced team, and we're all good enterprise guys. We know the right people when we interview them. We know their backgrounds, and we challenge people. So we pick the best of the best to join us. We're not just picking anyone from the street. And so we have the best team who've delivered. And if I were to hire another 30 people or 60 people and have 70 developers, I wouldn't. I don't need them. We don't need to add more complexity to the optimal team that's building the stuff that we have.
Sure.
So, yeah.
And that makes sense.
All right. So I just wanted to present that to you guys. Of course, a little bit more in regards to our Quant coverage. This particular one, this is about 2 minutes and 1 second. Refers to, like the blockchain factory. I mean, and how it's broken down. This particular interview is, again, really short, and of course you see quite often the gentleman on the right, but it gives you a broader perspective of what Quant is doing continuously. And if anything, it just solidifies it even that much more, specifically when you hear it from the likes of who? Gilbert Verdian, CEO of Quant. About 2 minutes, and then we'll be right back as well.
So we call it the blockchain factory. It's operational. We've listed that for the UK government. So if you go to it's on digital Gov UK, but it's part of G Cloud. So if you search G Cloud and Overledger, we're in there. So we've partnered with Alchemy, which is a management consultancy here in London, and we basically built. It's called a rapid methodology. So basically, you go and look at a customer that doesn't have blockchain, and the other 16%, because 84% do. So the 16% that don't, then you say, well, what are you trying to solve? What's the business process? What's the use case? And then you work through with them. You map the process out, and then you find out, do you need blockchain? What type of blockchain? What features? What are you trying to build? And then you do rapid prototypes of Overledger with them. And then you say, well, you wanted to do X and you wanted to connect your internal data to your partner, but you don't want to do it over the internet. You want to do it securely. And you want it to be the single source of the truth. You don't want to have a database at one end and database at the partner end, and they're syncing all the time. You want to simplify that. So you build that for them, rapid prototype, and then if it works for them in the proof of concept, then they like it, and then you turn that into a multi-chain application. So we've got that process live. We're using it with customers. There's an airport that we want to use it with. They really like the approach because of the trackability and supply chain view of what Overledger can give. So we want to apply that to baggage that goes through different airports, tying it to someone's identity, so then they can actually figure out where the bag is from a consumer perspective, but from the airport's perspective, they can track things within a different supply chain across borders.
Right.
So,
and we have talked about that before in Dubai.
So, I mean, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, the way I personally look at it is with Quant, we are basically so very early. Some of these things are being mentioned and so on. I mean, my key takeaway here is just that. I mean, think about the airport example, right? We talk about, for instance, mass adoption quite often here at CTN. But, that's the main thing, is that mass adoption and so on. And if anything, it's even some of these other examples like the airports, You get one airport who likes the technology that Quant is able to deliver for them. If you think about this, interoperability. Heck, I'm pretty sure when it comes to the likes of air traffic control, it really needs to be interoperable, to say the least. And if Quant can bring something to the table that solves a lot of maybe current issues of interoperability, even at that particular scale of things, with the likes of various airport towers, the communication that's involved, and so on. That's just one of many, many examples. Me, of course, personally, I'm into Quant basically for what's going to happen with mass adoption from the financial sector point of view. There's of course many other different reasons and so on, but I also like the idea of them vetting, if you will, some of these different enterprises and organizations and so on, seeing if what is your particular use case. How can Quant help benefit you, not just onboarding anybody and everybody, right? Like the title states, the quality over the quantity. All right, a little bit more in regards to our Quant coverage. Quant, just that, right? The number one choice. Why is it the number one choice, and why will it continue to be the number one choice? If you've been following us for a while here at CTN with our Quant coverage, it's just that recognizing Quant's utility. That's why we make some of these bold statements. This is like the Bitcoin, if you will, of utility, where on the other hand, Bitcoin simply doesn't have that. That's not me necessarily bashing Bitcoin and so on, but I'm also recognizing what's happening in the future. And, there's countless examples of different companies and organizations that don't keep up with the times, and as a result, they end up getting left behind. Perfect example, look what happened to MySpace, right? This is not exactly an apples and oranges comparison. I want people to understand these particular examples. So, for instance, the likes, yes, of MySpace, they had opportunity to be more innovative. And of course, what happened? Facebook came along. But even with Facebook, think about this. If Facebook would have focused strictly on being, focused on Web 2, if you will, of that time period, then even with them, they would have been ate up by the competition. That's why they decided to purchase Instagram. They had to appeal to a different, younger audience. They even rebranded themselves to Meta. How about this for size? Pets.com, if you're around for that, right? Late 90s, early 2000s, right? Pets.com. That, of course, was a flash in the pan. Didn't exactly work out too well. But it's the timing of these particular organizations. Here's a perfect example. Chewy.com. A lot of us happen to use that, right? Especially if you have a dog, cat, and so on, right? Or even like parakeets, you name it, right? But the point is, it's timing the market for those particular ones, the phases of the particular market. And if anything, I think Quant recognizes what's happening with that and being innovative and staying ahead of that particular curve. So, for instance, like it mentions, the number one choice, we're going to take a moment of recognizing a little bit more in regards to this, and then, of course, we'll be right back.
We're using our experience, our understanding of how enterprise work to make sure, we're the number one choice. As I was saying before, and we want Overledger to be the only way to do blockchain for enterprise because it's the right way. It's open. It gives you choice. It gives you flexibility.
Well, basically what it's doing, from what I understand, to use the analogy of, I'm almost envisaging someone wearing a cap on their head for a moment, and each of the nodes, to use analogy, likening that to the brain, those nodes act as silos, and those silos are blockchains. And what you're doing is you're building that business bridge, you're building that technological bridge to light the whole system up so that only through that network can it all interoperate together. That is the web. You want to build that, but have you got the tech and have you got the team to do that operating system aspect? I only ask you because that is technologically very complex. How many advances have you made in that part of it to achieve it?
We have the right team, and we've actually built all the stuff that I've said. So we've been very focused for the last 9 months and doing things properly at the right scale, and making sure everything we architect, everything we engineer is built for the future. And we've actually built it. So we have the right team on board. We're 14 today, will be 16 next week. There's 2 more people joining us. And
Right.
so we have the right optimal team with the right experience, and we've built it. So it's not something we're aspiring to do in the next 2 years and 3 years. We've done it. It's already ready. It's live. It's working. And there's a lot more we're doing in our quant labs to do proofs of concept and do a bit more.
So I don't know about you, but when it comes to the whole thing of quant, I mean, I think of the many different, cryptos I basically have gotten into, different various projects. Because, let's face it, if you've been into, investing into crypto and so on, some of you guys have been in it maybe multiple years, maybe just a year, 2 years, so on and so forth. Heck, you may be somewhat new to this. And if anything, what is the common consensus that you have drawn or came to the conclusion of when it comes to a lot of these particular crypto projects? It's the vision of what's basically going to be ahead, right? What's to be expected in the future, I should say, right? We're going to provide this particular utility. We're going to come out with this particular app, and it's going to be, second quarter, such and such on the roadmap and so on. But with Quant, they are basically, like it mentions, the number one choice. And if anything, they already have this live going on as we speak. And to me, that is just huge. They have already proven that they already have the utility. And it's not just one utility. It's multiple different use cases for multiple different types of utility, right? Solving things at scale that nobody has ever seen before, especially when it comes to the likes of blockchain technology. You're literally investing not just in a token, but an operating system that makes things interoperable, like I said, without even thinking about it, to the measure of, man, I mean, enterprises, legacy systems, APIs, go on and on and on. All right, a little bit more in regards to our quant coverage, like I mentioned. I do want to show you guys this particular piece because, if anything, what I really, really like about it is it gives you another perspective, for instance, of the Overledger overview. Okay, this particular one's 3 minutes and 40 seconds. Yes, we did have coverage of understanding the Overledger. By the way, if you're new to this, the Overledger is the actual operating system for Quant. But I like this particular breakdown. I couldn't believe that this particular one, like Quant Pop I mentioned, only had about 100 views. We're going to listen to this for just a moment. Again, about 3 minutes and 40 seconds, and then we'll come right back for some closing commentary.
Overledger by Quant Network is the blockchain operating system for the future and has been designed to overcome the current limitations of blockchain technology.
I apologize. Let me blow that up a little bit bigger for you guys. Give me just a second. Sorry about that.
Overledger by Quant
Here we go.
Network is the blockchain operating system for the future and has been designed to overcome the current limitations of blockchain technology. In recent years, we've seen the development of unique blockchains, each with their own set of advanced protocols for different purposes. While these are all great, they currently only work in isolation. The Quant Network team of experts asked themselves, why is it that a transaction on Ethereum can't be recognized on or by Bitcoin? What if we could, 1, enable blockchain-to-blockchain communication? Or, also, what if we could take it a step further? And 2, connect the world's existing networks and internet to blockchain? Finally, 3, what if developers had the option of building applications across multiple ledgers? And the answer to all these questions is Overledger. Overledger is the only blockchain operating system to enable the development of multi-chain applications, or maps. Developers will be able to build applications across multiple ledgers, harness the power of multiple individual blockchains to build the most effective solution, instead of being confined to one or single ledger dependency. Instead, they have the flexibility to easily migrate to another technology when required. This improves their resilience by limiting their risk and exposure, and lastly, they can unlock cost savings by better managing the consensus fees, which are set with no option to remediate. The Quant Network team designed the Overledger platform and protocols, acutely aware of the challenges that enterprises across the public and private sectors face based on our extensive first-hand experience. The team see the potential that blockchain offers, but know all too well what a complex challenge it can be for an enterprise to adopt any new technology. This is why they've engineered the Overledger technology for enterprise and developers to be seamless, to implement and comply with internal and external security and regulatory requirements. With Overledger, there will be minimal changes required to an enterprise's existing systems and networks in order to connect to blockchain, while other interoperability-focused projects often add complexity by either introducing another blockchain on top of existing blockchains, adding another consensus mechanism, or by imposing limitations. What sets Overledger apart is the originality of its reference model for how distributed applications can communicate with each other over different blockchain protocols and networks without the need to resort to existing gateways or connectors. Overledger is not another blockchain. It is also an agnostic platform that connects the world's networks to current and future blockchains. The Quant Network team's accelerated roadmap promises to deliver elements of the Overledger platform over the next few months with their Maps store. The central place hub for developers to share their multi-chain apps is set to open in Q2 2019. Overledger has the promise to be the catalyst for mass adoption of blockchain technology, which will surely usher in a new era of digital economic growth and prosperity. The Quant Utility Token, QNT, has also been cleverly designed as a crucial component to the Overledger operating system, being developers and users access similar to a license fee. To find out more, visit www.quant.network.
All right, so there you have it in regards to that. I, of course, wanted to be able to, share that with you all. Again, I apologize for, not getting that quite bigger than it was originally. But nonetheless, sometimes we have technical issues. I mean, things happen. But, that particular breakdown and how it was explained, even though it was from a few years back, I'm kind of shocked they didn't get more views, for instance, like, pointed out by Quant Papa. But if anything, it's a very well put together video, and it gives you the quick gist of an overview of Quant's Overledger, and especially when it comes to, for instance, the M apps, the maps, right, and so on. And if anything, it's just nice to reflect on these particular things and so on. A little bit more in regards to our coverage before we wrap things up. The Quant price, currently speaking, is sitting at $120 even. And of course, about roughly 24 hours ago, as you see, this was down to about maybe 115 and so on. The day before that, though, was really significant. We did touch the $94 area and so on. So I just want to point that out. The volume is definitely up about 24% or so, sitting at about a $1.4 billion market cap. And again, there are a few key things when it comes to Quant, why we make the comparisons to the likes of Bitcoin and so on, is how the circulating supply is even that much more attractive, that much more scarce, if you will, with that, a little over 12 million circulating supply. Even the max supply and total supply, it matches. Those particular ones are even, again, that much more attractive when you compare it to the likes of, for instance, Bitcoin. That has, don't get me wrong, Bitcoin has an attractive max supply and circulating supply, but Quant's is even that much more less. And back that with the utility of Quant, you get where we're going with this. It's going to be something else. Already 31st overall on the CMC rankings. In the future, I highly, highly believe that this will become the #1 crypto by market cap out there. The days are limited for the likes of Bitcoin. So with that said, that concludes our coverage today for the likes of Quant. Hopefully you all enjoyed that particular video today that we brought to you. Of course, there was some coverage that was basically released last night. It was about roughly, I want to say 11:25, 11:30 Mountain Time last night. There you guys have it. Like, comment, subscribe. If you haven't done so already, please hit that bell notification. And if you enjoy a live show, check out our live show at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, every single day of the week. We cover the likes of Quant, XRP, XDC, XLM, a lot of the ISOs. And on top of that, guys, we love to educate people about how to recognize the utilities. And, like our old series of preparing for November, now going to be preparing for just that March with these ISOs being a mandate when it comes to March. So, again, thank you again. May all have a blessed day, and we'll see you on the next one.